How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. Alright, so today I might make a lot of folks who grew up in the 80s feel incredibly old. But this particular video game, one that I found has a place in the hearts of a lot of gamers, is turning 30 this year. And I figured I should definitely talk about it. It started life as an arcade title that indeed came out in 1984. And it was released by the good folks at Atari Games, who were later absorbed into Midway, which is why it popped up on Midway Arcade Treasures and has popped up on a number of Midway compilations over the years. It showed up on a lot of different home consoles, most notably the NES and the Sega Genesis, also the Sega Master System. And while graphically it may have changed, that core gameplay always remained the same. And it's a beloved title because of that. And so this video is all about Paperboy. Now, Paperboy had a really simple premise. You played as the Paperboy, who pretty much had this 3-block paper route, something like that, and maybe longer, maybe shorter. And he had to basically go through the week without losing customers. That was the object of the game. And it may seem simple enough, but to those who played the game, it's definitely not. The streets are riddled with obstacles. There are kids breakdancing and playing hacky sack. There's one kid like fiddling with a tire with a stick, and the Grim Reaper, nest of hornets, hearses, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And you can also get hit by random cars. Paperboy is a treacherous game, and if this was happening in real life, that entire neighborhood would get indicted on Paperboy killings. But I digress. The game in and of itself is pretty simple. It kind of works in the same conventions as a shmup, where you're on a scrolling track and you have to avoid obstacles and hit targets. How you keep your subscribers from day to day by making sure that their paper doesn't go through their window. It either lands in the mailbox or on the porch. And as long as you do that with all of your houses, not only will you keep those houses, but you'll gain more subscribers, and you'll be able to continue the game. The game only ends if you actually if everyone cancels their subscriptions. So if you go through a level and if you don't properly deliver the paper to anyone, all of those people will leave, and you'll lose at level 1, which is terrible. At the end of each level, there's this training sequence, which basically takes all of the stuff that you went through in the level and ramps it up to about 11 or 12. And that's kind of acts as your standard bonus level. There's not a whole lot, as far as a deep story, anything like that. None of that's in Paperboy. Like I said, you go from house to house, you go up the block, delivering newspapers, and trying not to get killed. That's what happens. And as simple as it seems, it's a fantastic video game. It's probably one of the best things that Atari Games did in the arcades, and that's saying a lot because they did Marble Madness and Gauntlet, 720 Degrees, Road Blasters. They had a pretty good catalog. But for my money, Paperboy might be their best work because it just encompassed all of the fast-paced fun of an arcade game. and it ported well to home consoles, whereas some of their other titles, I'm looking at you 720 Degrees, did not port well to home consoles at all. Tengen, which is the home division of Atari, handled some of the home ports. Mindscape handled the NES port. Those came a few years later. And, you know, again, for what it's worth, Paperboy was just a fantastic video game. And it's something that if you haven't played it, you need to go find a copy of Midway Arcade Origins for the PS3 or the Xbox 360, Midway Arcade Treasures Volume 1 for the PS2, Xbox, or GameCube, the NES version, Genesis version, Master System version, Game Boy version, any of them. Find it and play it. And I'm not saying play Paperboy 2, I'm saying play the original Paperboy, because Paperboy 2 might have been fun, but it wasn't the original Paperboy. This has been 8-Bit Animal. I'll catch you beautiful people next time.